So my name is Szymon, I'm an engineering manager at Monterail, and today I'll be talking to you about State of Vue.js Report 2025. And my goal here today is to essentially let you know what it is, why we did it, and why you should give it a read. So, to start with, I'll tell you a little bit about Monterail itself. So this State of Vue report marks actually a decade of Monterail's commitment to Vue. We've been working for quite a while with Vue now, and we've also completed quite a bit of projects. We have over 40 successful Vue projects over the years of various sizes, various industry challenges, various clients, some of them quite long, some took years, some took months, but in all of them, Vue was always very good. It was always a good choice, Vue always delivered and always allowed us to easily overcome any challenges that we had. And as probably some of you know, we have been also an official Vue.js partner for quite a while now. And as of recent, we've also become an official Nuxt partner. And basically, the reason why we do this State of Vue.js report is because we also want to give back to the community. So we've always been about contributing to open source, organizing events like this Meetup, but also I'm not sure you know that Monterail organized the very first Vue conference in the world. It wasn't the biggest one, but it was first. So yeah, you've got that one. We've also been contributing to sharing our knowledge on our blog and other places. And also, we wanted to create this State of Vue.js report so you have a brief overlook of what's going on with Vue, why should we use Vue, what's exciting about Vue, what's upcoming, and so on. And in terms of contributions, one recent example, especially for our Polish audience today, is that we wanted to make the official Vue.js documentation more accessible, and we translated it to Polish language, which it's available right now under this URL. You can check it out. We are currently maintaining it, so we are waiting for the updates of new minor versions of Vue, and we'll be keeping it up to date, and it's available in Polish, so feel free to check it out. Of course, it's all open source, so if you visit and find any issues, problems, or suggestions, feel free to hit an issue for us or maybe contribute yourself. But I guess that's enough about ourselves, so let me start talking a bit about the State of Vue.js report itself. So this is actually the 5th edition of the report that we did. As you can see, we don't do it every year because it's a bit too much work to do every year. But we try to do it every now and then to basically give you as much information as you can, as frequently as possible about what's happening in the Vue ecosystem. And this time we haven't been working on it alone. We actually cooperated with other companies that are using Vue. They contributed to the State of Vue reports too. And we also cooperated with the Vue core team as well as Nuxt core team. We have 16 Vue and Nuxt case studies, which basically means 60 different real-life examples of how different companies have been using Vue in their day-to-day work, what challenges were they solving, how Vue helped them, and it also gives you a good highlight on what companies are actually using Vue and how. We have over 30 expert contributors. This is Nuxt core team members, Vue core team members, people who are contributing to open source, basically a lot of people you might know about. And lastly, we've also done a survey this time. I'm hoping that maybe some of you heard about it or responded to it. But we had over 1,400 respondents, and in this survey we wanted to basically see how people are using Vue now and how it changed in regards to a few years back, and also what challenges the community is facing. And we also asked about this in the Vue ecosystem context, as well as Nuxt ecosystem context. And in terms of companies that contributed, you probably might know some of them, I think. So we have contributions from people from GitLab, Booksy, Storyblog, Doc Planner, Hack the Box, Give Directly, Alkai, and many others. But to give you like maybe a short summary of what you can find in State of Vue report, to let you know more what can you find in it, I think the first and most important one is probably State of Vue Union by Vue, which is an exclusive interview that gives you a summary of what's happening in Vue, what can you look forward to in Vue, what features are coming, and also a bit more information about the company that Ivan recently created, the for-profit company Void0, and how it might influence both Vue and also JavaScript ecosystem as a whole. Next, we have quick and short summary of what's been going on in Vue and Nuxt ecosystems. If you haven't been following what has been happening over the last months, I think this is a good summary to see what features have been added, what has been added both in Vue and Nuxt, and what can you expect to see. Next, we have a very big and dedicated chapter to Nuxt itself. We have a lot of insights from the Nuxt core team, a lot of case studies, and also a brief overview of what's happening in the Nuxt ecosystem itself in terms of all the different models that you can find and probably use day to day. Next, we have Vue.js by the numbers. So basically statistics, numbers, and things that are basically tracking how Vue has been progressing or improving over the years. And also included, of course, the detailed breakdown of the answers for the survey that we've conducted with detailed information and additional details on all of the questions itself. And lastly, because this is still a big issue in the Vue ecosystem, a big chapter about Vue-free migration, some tips, case studies, additional resources to maybe let you consider if you should do a migration, and if so, how should you go about it. There's, of course, much more, but I don't have enough time today to, well, tell you about everything. So I'll try to go over some top highlights, especially from our survey, and what they might mean for us. So majority of us, and this shouldn't be surprising, have been working with Vue 3 version or higher, which is good, considering that Vue 2 is kind of reached its end of life. Next up, most of us have been using the composition API with script setup, and as a side note, all of this data is about recent, like last 12 months. So, unsurprisingly, about a third of respondents have also been using Options API. And this shouldn't be a surprise because, well, we have a ton of old projects that are legacy code that we might have migrated, and they unfortunately might still have Options API. Lastly, a lot of people have been picking TypeScript over JavaScript, and this is especially nice to see for me, because this is a very high number, and over the years, comparing it to the last survey that we did, it grew a lot. On the last survey, only about a third of people have been choosing TypeScript. So this is a huge change, and it shouldn't be also a surprise considering how Vue 3 is much easier to use with TypeScript. When it comes to global state management, of course, Pinia takes the lead. It's currently the default solution that is suggested, so it's obviously the most used one. However, kind of the same with the composition API. About a third of respondents have still been using Vuex, and shouldn't be surprising considering the legacy code challenges. And lastly, something that also Daniel was talking about, Tailwind has been hugely growing in popularity with Vue because over half of respondents have already using it with Vue itself. Next, when it comes to some highlights from Nuxt, those who have been working with Nuxt, majority have been working with Nuxt 3 and or higher, and the numbers for the Nuxt 2 version have been similar to Vue 2. About a third of people have been working with Nuxt 2 or older, probably still with challenges about the migration. And the majority reason that Nuxt has been big has been basically for server-side rendering. However, the applications that have been built with SPAs in mind have been also about the same number, which shows that Nuxt isn't just about server-side rendering, it's just about applications as a whole, and it's a very solid choice for all types of applications. Next up, and this is also very important, out of all the respondents, about 70% have been using Nuxt in some capacity. which also shows that Nuxt is quite important in the Vue ecosystem, and if you haven't been on board, then I think it's something you definitely should look into. Now, when it comes to some top challenges, we've been gathering the survey to see what the community struggles with, and we've grouped it by the Vue or Nuxt ecosystem, and for Vue, the top one is, of course, migration difficulties. Next up, we had tooling, ecosystem limitations, and finally, job opportunities, which isn't a surprise considering the state of the market these days. For Nuxt, the most important that was highlighted was documentation issues, and I'm not sure if you have been an early adopter of Nuxt 3. If so, you definitely should know that this was quite a challenge. And the other is efficient data fetching, and finally, ecosystem and stability. And on the note of the last one, you might recall Daniel's talk some minutes ago, that basically it is also something that the Nuxt team really sees that they failed to do well at with Nuxt 3, and they basically want to improve that with Nuxt 4 and future in mind. Also, with all of those challenges, I think it's important to remember that all of those topics have been covered in the State of Vue report itself. So if you find these challenging for you, we provided a lot of information and help in the State of Vue report, covering them deeper to help you out. However, there were also some things recently that we haven't really covered in State of Vue report because they happened after the State of Vue report was out, which is a shame. However, one of the challenges that was mentioned for Vue was the lack of native application options for mobile for Vue. Vue doesn't have React Native thing. We had some options, but they were much more limited. However, things are starting to change, and recently, company ByteDance, which builds an application you might have heard of, which is known as TikTok, I think you do. They built this application using their own different set of technologies, and they open source them. And their approach is to essentially use web technologies, but allow you to use web technologies to build native applications. And this approach is both open source and also it's framework agnostic. So the Lynx, that's the name of the technologies team, basically was very open about the fact that they also had Vue with Lynx in their minds when they were architecting it. And they are very open to the community to help out to build this Vue and Lynx compatibility layer. So perhaps in the future, maybe we could build native applications using Lynx with Vue. And very quickly, the community spammed a lot of upvotes on some proposals to, well, let someone build it. And the Vue core team is very eager to help, but they don't have resources to do it themselves, and similarly the Lynx team. So it's kind of a situation that it's a lot of hype, but there isn't really many actors doing something. There is some community effort. As you can see, that the community already started doing some prototypes and testing things, but it's early enough that this topic hasn't really taken off yet. It's not complete by any mile. So as a side note, if you are interested in mobile development, this is something really, really interesting that you might be willing to jump on or help out or just follow, because maybe soon we'll be all using Vue to build mobile applications that are very performant using Lynx. Lastly, as we were on the Vue Amsterdam conference and we were covering all those difficult topics, they are quite challenging. So we organized a discussion panel there, which was very good, and a lot of interesting things were said today. We had cool and very known and very knowledgeable panelists, including Evan Yu, Daniel Rowe, Alex Ukte, Ludwila Krimers, and Daniel Kelly. And it went very well. And you might be wondering, well, cool, Szymon, but we didn't watch it if you weren't there. And I have good news for you. If you visit the official Vue Amsterdam YouTube channel, both of the days of the conference have been recorded, including this discussion panel. So I recommend to give it a watch. especially if all those challenges and future of Vue ecosystem is interesting to you. There were a lot of interesting things said there. And lastly, you can visit this QR code. We have a site where the State of Vue report is available. It's quite big, but I hope that you will understand there is a lot of interesting things for you there to see, and I really recommend visiting. And of course, if you will have any questions, I was part of the crew who was working on the report, so feel free to reach out to me today. And kind of that's it from me. So thank you again for coming, and thank you for listening. I teraz trochę po polsku, z ogłoszeń parafialnych. Będziemy mieli 10 minut przerwy, więc możecie trochę się pochodzić, napić czegoś, a zaraz po przerwie wracamy i będzie prezentować Rafał Rakowski.